My primary ship for exploration is the Astro. I have been flying that little frigate for over a year now, and honestly, it did serve me very well. Now, one ship that I started to fly a lot more often now is the Stratios. The Stratios is one of the only covertops cruisers with a very nice bonus on exploration, and I will be flying this ship today for that specific purpose. Now let me quickly show you the trait description. The roll bonus on the Stratios is practically the same as the roll bonus on the Astro and on the Nestor. You get a very nice analyzer success rate bonus, and you get +1 analyzer strength. You also get a bonus on cargo hold capacity, scan resolution. You get a bonus on both of the scanners, which makes the ship good for PvP as well, and you get a overall resistance and drone DPS bonus, which is so far really nice, and it makes the Stratios one of the best covertops cruisers in the game. Now let me show you the current build. So today I'll be flying this ship for exploration, and of course that means I have to use the analyzers and the blue scanner. I also have the red scanner as well as the blue scanner. I will explain why. The scan radius is 86.25. I can definitely improve that, but this ship is, after all, still a PvP ship in my hands. So the minimum scan will be 86.25, but it should not affect that much, because I mostly scan in low sec and high sec with the current ships. I use the Astro for dangerous low sec territories. Now the data analyzer, I both use the top tier modules. 24.8% is the success rate, strength is 5, and this module is quite expensive, 315 million ISK, but honestly I would say that it's worth it. After using the modules for over a year now, they did give me a lot of ISK. This is the Relic Analyzer, same success rate, same strength, but this one is a little bit more expensive, 409 million, which is honestly very expensive for a module. So if you want to get both of the highest tier analyzers, that will cost you around 700 million ISK, which is quite expensive. Now for the fourth module I have the narrow scanner, the PvP scanner, and I use this module as my eyes when I am lurking around in a data site. Basically I can see what the players in the system are up to. I can see if they are doing a mission, and I can also see if they are in sight of the scout or Inquisitor anomaly, and of course I can see if they are lurking around in the data site. Now if you don't want to use the red scanner, you can use webs, points and scramblers. The scrambler can be actually a very nice defensive module if you are engaged in the data site. Now something that I want to try out, you can't fit dual analyzers. Basically you are limited to only one analyzer in the medium slots. For a second I thought that I can equip dual relic or data analyzers, but I guess I can't, so I'll just swap back to the scanner. For exploration, I prefer to use a micro warp drive to quickly go from one box to the other box. For PvP, I use the afterburner. The Stratios with the afterburner is very scary, and I really like to use the ship with the afterburner in PvP. I have one large armor repair and one armor hardener. Now if you don't want to use a large armor repair, you can swap into dual medium armor repairs, or you can keep the large armor repair, but I would recommend that you equip one capacitor battery instead of the adaptive armor hardener, just to make sure that you have enough capacitor if you have to use the armor repair for a extended period of time. For defense, I have medium drones. I also have light drones in the drone bay, a mix between Valkyries and infiltrators, and I also use rapid missile launchers. I thought to use torpedo launchers, but against frigates and against other covert-ops cruisers, I guess rapid missiles are kind of the best universal weapon against both of the ships that you might encounter in the data sites. So I will use the rapid missiles on the Stratios. For PvP, I like to use the medium missiles, or I like to use the torpedo launchers. Depends on the targets, but so far the stats on the rapid missiles look really nice. That's basically the fit that I use on the Stratios when I go out and explore. So, with that being said, let's go out and let's run some sites. Now, we have one local Serpentis production facility, 22.22 astronomical units away from my ship. And this is located literally outside of my home station. So I practically undocked and, well, I stumbled upon a data site, so let's go and see what the boxes will give me. Now the closest is the Serpentis info shard. I will go after that one. The range is 11.8 kilometers on both of the analyzers. The first box was opened pretty quickly. Now let's go towards the second box. In one of the recent updates, they have improved the spawn rate of the sites, which I can confirm that there is a lot of sites now. I stumbled upon at least 50 sites within 1 hour of me roaming around, and I did make some pretty decent ISK as well. Now I cloaked because I have seen one ship pop in local, and of course always be careful when you are flying a super expensive ship. You never know what can happen. So if you are running one of these sites and if you have traffic in local, always cloak, because it's the safe way, and if someone scans you, then you will notice their ship on time. Now I think local is clear. Local is clear. That means I can continue with the boxes. I will go after the second box, Serpentis command tower. I think the command tower is the highest value box in this current site, although from my personal experience, well, that was not bad. That was some very nice loot from that command tower. I think that was around 220 million from that one box. We will see when I open the cargo hold later. But now I will quickly go and complete the last one. So far this was a very good site. A very decent site. And it was opened. Okay. Now let's take range, let's cloak. Usually when all boxes are cleared, the site will disappear. That's how I make sure that I have picked up all boxes. Next we have a regional Blood Raider mainframe. Okay. Now we are at Blood Raider space. Let's quickly warp towards the location.
Warp drive active.
Okay, ship is in warp. Local is clear. There is nothing more satisfying than having clear local and one very nice data site. I can confirm that exploration in this game is one of the most relaxing things that you can do. I personally really enjoy exploration in this game, and it's one of the ways how I have funded most of my ships that you see me fly, including the Balgorn with A-type modules. Well, that was a nice first box. I think that was another 220 million from that integration circuit that I have collected. Let's go after the next box. Blood Raider Command Tower, okay. I really like to open a site like this. Even more circuits, okay. Even more integration circuits, nice. Let's go after the last one. That was around 400 million already in this exact site over here, which is very nice. Let's open the last tower, the last info shard box. I like to call them boxes, although they are not exactly boxes. They are towers, as you can see. It doesn't look like a box, honestly, but yeah, you know how it goes. Okay, that was very nice. Let me take range and let me check if everything is collected. Everything was collected, nice. 530 million, okay, that's interesting. I thought that I collected only around 220 million, but it was 500 plus, not bad. Integrated hull and integrated trigger unit, alright, nice. That was a very good sight. Okay, now let's go towards the next one.
Warp drive
So far
active.
in the first, let's see, 12 minutes of the video, I made around 750 million ISK. Not bad. Not bad. Looks like this is going to be a very nice exploration roam today. My most successful exploration roam was around 4.85 billion, around that number. So I really hope that I surpass that one day. Let's go after the command tower. The command tower is the most valuable box in this site. Okay, that was quick. And I can tell you that the Sister of Eve bonus on the Analyzer success rate really does help a lot. And of course the extra strength also helps really. It does help a lot, really. I noticed that I started to open the boxes really quickly. Sometimes it fails, but the fail rate is, in my case, very rare. Doesn't happen that often. I think it only happened once on my previous roam, but it really happens really rarely. And of course, I have maxed out skills for exploration, which I think does help a little bit. Not quite sure. It should help, honestly, but I might be wrong. This is why I say that using the expensive modules for exploration does pay off in the end. I bought the modules for around 500 million a couple months ago, and I have been using them since then, and they literally brought me billions back. So if you have the ISK to get those faction modules, then I would really recommend that you go and buy them. I have been using them for a very long time now, and I was able to assemble the fleet
Warp
of
drive
ships
active.
that I love to fly. Of course, PvP also has a big part in the ISK that I currently have, but exploration did help me a lot on the start. What do we have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 boxes. Now, we have some traffic in local, and I think that I have one ship watching me. You know, I always have that feeling that I'm being watched. So let's cloak and let's relax for a moment. Now the scan was clear and the stations were clear as well. So we have one ship cloaked, lurking around the system. And well, since we have a data site, there is a high chance that we have one ship lurking around in this site over here. So I will be cloaked. They're cloaked as well, most likely a bomber or perhaps a hunter Astro. Astro can actually be used for hunting in the data sites. They're very good ships, and they have enough DPS and tank to engage most of the exploration ships. The Stratios should be safe, but I will play safe because you never know what can happen. So far the pilot is still in local, and there is one more new pilot in local, so perhaps they are fleeted, who knows. But I will be lurking around for a second, and I will wait for the right moment. So far nothing seems to be happening. Let me see, they are both different corporations, so most likely not in the same fleet, but you never know. I've learned that just because the two pilots are not in the corp, that does not mean that they're not in the fleet, and that does not mean that they are not flying in the fleet. So far it looks like I might have some problems with this data site. Now I will do something funny. Let me align myself towards that point in space. I plan to decloak and I plan to scan just to see if I pick up anything. Maybe they are not in the... Well, no signal waves have been discovered in this system. Okay, well, I'm now 100% sure that they are in this site watching me. So that means they 100% have seen the Stratios. Now, 20 minutes forward, yeah, they were in the site. They were flying a Astro, and they have left the system. So I can continue with the data site. I will go after the first box, which is a little bit far away, 54 kilometers away at the moment. Now this is why I like to use the micro warp drive when I run exploration. I can go from box to box very quickly. Now the micro warp drive does have the disadvantage where if you get scrambled you cannot use it, but if you are careful then you will not get caught inside of the data sites. So you can keep the micro warp drive if you are pretty good at evading hunters. And I can guarantee you that the red scanner helps me a lot in deciding if the data site is camped. This site was camped, and of course I managed to evade all the ships without a problem. Now let's go to the next box. The first box was really generous and it gave me some metal scraps that I don't know what I will use for, but I got some metal scraps, so yeah. Not a good first box. Let's go after the next one. Next one is 24 kilometers away from me, okay. almost within the range. Should open pretty quickly. Now I can tell you that the exploration was definitely improved a lot. I actually enjoy it a lot more often because literally most systems that I have been to in the last couple days had one of the data sites, at least one. I stumbled upon a couple of them that had two, and I stumbled upon one that had 6 inside. So yeah, overall I would say that there's a nice change with exploration. Now one thing that I still would love to see is the mini game that we have in EVE Online, where you have to open the boxes by playing the mini game. I think we will get something like that very soon. We will see. I'm personally excited for that. Should be a lot more fun. However, once we do get something like that, you will have to be very careful and you will have to watch local, because if you get stuck inside of the minigame window, then you might get jumped without even noticing. And I know how that looks. I have seen a lot of ships go down in EVE Online in that way. Now I have cloaked because we have one more ship in local, and I am still playing it quite safe. Watching that, have to be careful not to get too close to one of the asteroids because they will definitely decloak your ship. So it looks like no asteroids are nearby, so I can orbit at this current range. I will just wait for local to clear, and then I will continue with the box. Okay, local seems clear. Let's lock on the box and let's open it. We have 2 more boxes. Okay, this one has been opened. Let's go after the next one. "75 kilometers away from the box." I crashed in one of the boxes. I have a feeling that I will crash in a lot more objects. Now the Stratios is definitely not a small ship. I crashed in the asteroid, okay, and I crashed in the other asteroid. That's bad luck at this moment. But now I should have a clear way straight to the Blood Raider debris. It is very funny that I am in Blood Raider space after considering the fact that Blood Raider ships are my favorite ships in the game, my favorite faction. And surprisingly, or not surprisingly, I found most of the good loot in Blood Raider space, which again is to be expected, because for some reason Blood Raiders seem to love me a lot. Not quite sure why that's the case, but that faction seems to love me a lot. So yeah, it's something that I have noticed with 1+ year of exploration experience in Blood Raider space. There is a lot of very nice loot, at least when I go and when I scan. Although right on the start of the video I did get some pretty good loot from Serpentis space as well. My home system is located at Serpentis space. So yeah. Decayed Blood Raider collision site. Okay, nice. Let's go towards the next data site now. I'm trying to warp, but my ship is already in warp, so I'm trying to enter warp without turning off the scanning window, and finally the ship warps.
Warp drive
Okay,
active.
let's go towards the location, orbit set at 6 kilometers. So far, the exploration room was really nice. I'm very happy with the current loot. You know, I could actually go and dock with the 750 million that I currently have in the cargo hold, but I just want to enjoy this a little bit more. You know, after doing PvP every day for weeks on end, sometimes I just want to relax and enjoy the game. Because PvP, while it's super fun, it's literally my favorite aspect of the game. I love PvP in EVE. But it can be stressful, and at one point it really can have an impact on how you play the game. So sometimes going on a relaxing exploration roam is really very useful and refreshing. Now it looks like I will destroy this Blood Raider remain box. I just have that feeling because it did not open it within the first couple attempts, so most likely going to fail at opening the Blood Raider remain box, but we will see what will happen. Maybe I get lucky at the last attempt, who knows, we will about to find out. 2 attempts remain, 1 attempt remains, and I think it's going to... Yep, it got destroyed. Oh well, it happens. I think this is the only box that I destroyed in the exploration room in the last 2 days. But we will see. Famous last words. Unfortunately, that was the most expensive box as well. Maybe I should have left that one for the end. Now usually when I enter the site I go for the most expensive box, just in case something happens and I have to warp away. From my personal experience, I have seen a lot of interceptors, a lot of frigates that enter the site and they immediately go after the most expensive box. Now, not to go and open them, but they like to go and camp around the most expensive box, cloaked. I know that I like to do that sometimes, although I haven't had much luck with catching anything so far. Mostly because the region where I like to go and scan, it's a little bit far away, and most of the time it's very empty. I think the region where I like to go and scan has around 10 players every 10 hours, something like that. It's very, very quiet. So most of the sites that do spawn in remain untouched until I go and until I scan. But now with the change on exploration, I think a lot more sites will spawn within the region, and I think I'll be able to find a lot more of the sites, because again, not many players actually go there. It's one of the most quiet regions in the game that I did found out a couple months ago, and I made it my primary ground
Autopilot
for
engaged.
scanning, and so far, as you can see, I'm doing really well. That was a very nice little site, although the loot was underwhelming. Now here we have 2 sites. Let's quickly go towards one. We have
Warp drive active.
crumbling Blood Raider explosive debris. So this is a explosive site. Now I am not sure if they have implemented the box actually doing damage to your ship once they have been destroyed. But since this is called a explosive site, I will be careful, because you never know what can happen. Again, in EVE Online, the explosive sites, if you fail to decode the box, you will take damage. So maybe that is already implemented to the game, so I will be careful. And if it's not implemented, then I can guarantee you that at one point they will implement that, because after all it's called the explosive site. Now you might be wondering, why do Sister of Eve ships have the extra armor resistance? Well, they're built to take damage and they're built for exploration. And of course, they are built to take damage from the explosive boxes if you fail to decode them. So I think I should be good, but so far the loot wasn't that good. I got even more metal scraps. Let's go after the 3 remaining boxes. Should be decoded very quickly. 16 attempts, okay. We have 3 more. Local is clear. I think in EVE Online they do around 5,000 explosive damage once they explode. So I would assume that the same thing will be applied over here. And I think I have pretty good explosive resistances, around 60%, so I should be able to take 1 hit. That's where the large armor repair comes in. And of course I also have the adaptive armor hardener that I can use. Local still clear. Okay, let's go after the next box. So far I would say that I'm doing pretty well in the exploration room with the Stratios. Definitely feels a little bit different from the Astro. The Astro is a little bit faster, ship is a little bit smaller, and with the Astro I try to avoid all fights, because it's not really built not really built for PvP. While the Stratios, on the other hand, this ship is a little bit more serious, and one bomber or one interceptor or even a PvP Astro will not be able to shoot down this ship that easily. And of course I also carry a PvP fit with me at all times, so that if I accidentally stumble upon a ship inside of a encounter or inside of a storyline mission, I can easily swap the build and go engage them, because you never know, sometimes I find some pretty good targets when I go and explore. With this ship I can actually go and engage those targets. This is the last box of this explosive site. Within the same system we have one more data site that I will go to once this one is completed. All boxes have been opened so far, except that one Blood Raider debris box that... my apologies, Blood Raider remain box that wasn't opened, that unfortunately got destroyed. 8 attempts remain. Local is clear, everything is clear as well. This should open at any moment, and okay, the last box has been decoded, and now let's clock, let's check if I looted everything. Everything seems to be collected. Okay, nice. So let's go and warp towards the regional Blood Raider mainframe. Should be fun. It's the next data site in this system. This system had 2 data sites, so I'm very happy to stumble upon that. We have 1 command tower, 1 info shard, and 1 mainframe. I will go after the closest one, which is the mainframe. We'll orbit at 6 kilometers. This was actually perfect warping. 10 attempts remain. Should open pretty quickly. I am not really worried about this site. Okay, I got even more trafficking containers. Not quite sure what to do with them. I have around 250 lurking around in my home station. Not quite sure if I should open them. Maybe I get one death wish unlock, or who knows. Although I am not a fan of the death wish unlock, of course, because well, they are kinda, you know, very hard to obtain. Okay, I got some chips with that one. And that was the last box. Okay, let me take range and let me cloak. That was very nice. 2 data sites within the same system. Overall, so far, very, very nice. Okay, the loot is not bad.
Autopilot
I
engaged.
did go and I did unload the previous loot that I had, just in case if I do something
Warp drive
that can
active.
cost me the ship. But so far it looks like I haven't made a single mistake, and hopefully that's going to be the case throughout this exploration roam. Okay, we have crumbling blood raider explosive debris. A second explosive site. Okay. I will go after the closest blood raider debris box, which should be opened pretty quickly. Okay, even more trafficking containers. That's lovely. Going after the next one. 18 kilometers away from my ship. Now I will attempt to open them. The local is clear. So far the local has been clear for a very long time. I've really only stumbled upon that one cloaky Astro in the site before, but everything else was pretty clear without any problems. Most of the time the local is clear. After all, this region is very quiet, and I really love the fact that this region is so quiet. I think there are other exploration pilots that know about this, because I know that I stumble upon other exploration ships along the way, although I haven't seen them inside of the site, but I have seen them warping from gate to gate. But I was a little bit faster, so I was able to clear everything before they jumped in. So I practically got most of the loot. Okay, 2 more boxes remain. Let's open them up. So far, around 800 million ISK, I believe. We'll have to go and check the station. The first 2 sites were really good. Okay, that box has been opened. Now, I am thinking about actually making the blueprints into rigs and then sell the rigs, because I have a lot of materials laying around, and the question is it more profitable to sell the blueprints or use the blueprints with the already free materials that I have collected from PvP and then create the rig and then sell the rig, because I have plenty of unused materials just laying around, and
Autopilot.
the actual rig is a lot more expensive than the blueprint. So
Warp
I
drive
think I
active.
will be able to make more ISK out of exploration if I actually make the rigs from the blueprints and then sell that. I have a lot of options, so I'm trying to find out what's going to be the most profitable one. I also have a lot of blueprints that are just laying around that I can definitely use to make the rigs. Okay, first box has been opened. Not bad. I got some explosive rigs from that one, and of course some more trafficking boxes. Let's go after the next box. That was the Blood Raider Remain box, which was the most valuable one in this site. Opening the boxes with practically one cycle on the analyzer is what's happening most of the time. You can technically use the other Covertops cruisers for exploration. It works, but they will not have the same bonus as the Stratios. Now, one hilarious thing, you can actually open Sino with the Stratios. I think you can. I haven't tried, and honestly, I don't feel like I want to try to open a Sino with the Stratios. It's a very expensive Sino ship. But since it is a Covertops, it should be able to do that without a problem. Okay, this site was actually really nice. Around 50 to 60 million from that one Blood Raider Remain box. And the asteroid decloaked me. Well, I wasn't careful enough. Let's cloak and check if all boxes have been looted. Looks like everything was looted. Okay, let's go to the next site. Now,
Warp drive active.
sometimes you can actually find some really good loot in high-sec sites. In one of my last Astro exploration roams, I found around, I think it was 250 or 350 million ISK from a high-sec site, which was ridiculous. So if you stumble upon a site in high-sec, then go ahead and clear them, because it is in high-sec and you should be safe. Nothing can engage your ship in high-sec. So this is practically a free loot. And I noticed that not a lot of players check the high-sec sites, which I think is a mistake, because again, you can get some very nice loot from the high-sec sites. Doesn't happen that often, but it happens, and that alone makes me go and open practically all sites that I stumble upon on my exploration journey. So far, basically every system that I have been to had a site which is very nice. Back before the change, I used to find one site in some certain systems that I used to visit at a exact time, at the exact time frame. But now I can relax even more, because I know that I will find a lot of sites, because they will spawn faster. And so far, I have been really enjoying the exploration in today's exploration part. Might be a little bit long, but this is practically all recorded in the single run. Of course, I did cut the part where I go and dock the loot in the station. But all of this was recorded within the same day. Within the 2.5 hours that I had
Warp drive active.
for exploration. And I think that I will actually do a lot more exploration in my free time. Maybe even create... Maybe this is something that I actually thought about. I can make my alt run exploration. I already have the Astro. That's practically the only ship that I really need for exploration. So I can do the exploration on my other account. But we will see. That also requires some pretty good skills. And I don't have very good exploration skills on my other account at the moment. Okay, another high sec site. Of course, I will open all of the boxes. Let's see, system seems to be clear. We have one ship that warped out, and of course I lost connection for a second, because that always happens when I try to do something. But it quickly recovered, so not a big problem. Let's go to the next site. Should arrive pretty quickly. You can technically use the afterburner for this, but it will take a while. Don't forget that the Stratios is practically one of the slowest cruisers in the game. The Ashimu is actually faster than the Stratios with the micro-drift, so that tells you how slow this thing actually is. But the Stratios is very sneaky. One of the sneakiest ships in the game. Two more boxes remain. Both are Blood Raider debris. You know, it would be actually very fun if we could find Blood Raider ship debris inside. They are quite expensive. And for some reason, Blood Raider ships are the most expensive faction ships that we have currently on the market. Of course, not counting the Sister of Eve and Mordor ships, because they are a little bit special. But the Blood Raider ships are very expensive. Okay, let's open the last two boxes. Let's go after the next one. I have so many of the tier 1 and tier 2 blueprints. When all of them are combined, there's around, I think, 150 million or something. 150 million ISK to be more accurate. Which, if I turn that into modules, into rigs, I don't know, maybe looking at 500 million, not quite sure. Haven't really followed the prices on the rigs that often. Usually the only time where I look at the rig prices is when I go and buy them, which doesn't happen that often, because I have a lot of rigs that I already bought a long time ago. And this was the last box of this system. Let's see if I have looted everything. Seems Seems like I forgot one box. Oh, I forgot one rubble box. Let's go after that one. It happens sometimes. I forget one box. We had 6 of them, and I got distracted with some things, so I wasn't really paying a lot of attention to the boxes that I haven't opened. This is only a Blood Raider rubble box, which is not that, you know, not that high tier, but who knows what might be inside. I will open them regardless. And this site actually looks really nice. Okay, not bad loot from the rubble box. Now I can cloak, and now the site should disappear. And the site has disappeared. Nice. Okay, let's go to the next site, but first let me scan this. And okay, only one of the Nihilus compressed belts, which is something that I wasn't
Warp drive active.
which is something that I am not looking for at the moment. Decayed Blood Raider mine. We have one player in local, but I believe that they are just passing through, or perhaps they are inside of the site, which looks to be clear. Okay, we have one Blood Raider remain box. That's going to be the primary box. I will try to scan for ships, but it seems to be clear. Oh, okay, one more ship popped in local. One more player popped in local. That means I will cloak and I will slowly approach the Blood Raider remain box. Now that player's name seems familiar. I think I have already seen them on the exploration roam today, but I might be wrong. I have seen a lot of players today. There is now 3 players in local. Okay, and looks like, oh, okay, for a second I thought that the last 2 were in a fleet. Well, I will slowly approach. One of them left local. Okay, I will wait for one more to leave local, and then I can decloak and go after the remain box. Well, they are still in local, and there is even more players joining in. Okay, this might be fun. Always be very careful when scanning. Now there's a high chance that there is a ship lurking around. Let's see, 84 days and 85 days. Well, let's go and decloak. Let's try to decode this box. I should be safe. We have one ship on the scanner. Looks like a cruiser based on the signature, but they are going towards the gate. Not a bad box. Not a bad box. I got some laser rigs. They can be quite expensive. Let's go after the next one. Especially after the buff that some of the rigs have received in the latest balance patch, which I personally really like. The lasers have been improved a lot. Seems like the developers love lasers as much as I do. Okay, Two more boxes remain. Let's open them as well. Local has that one player inside, but nothing is on the scanner. So I think I should be safe. No other object is around. No signal waves have been detected, okay. Which further confirms that I should be safe. Now I am a little bit too close to that asteroid, so I will not be able to cloak if something pops in. And 11 attempts remain to open the box. Nine attempts. I like the convenience where I can't open a box on time right around one of the asteroids. That will prevent me from cloaking. That is some bad luck, but the box has been opened and I got even more of these containers that I don't use that much. And let's open the last one. Not bad, even more boxes. Okay, that's fun. Everything should be collected. And the site has disappeared, which means that it has been completed. Okay, let's go towards the next Blood Raider site.
Warp drive active.
Local Blood Raider data terminal. Last time when I was on a exploration room was when the server was very unstable and when most of the players were kicked out of the server, if anyone remembers that. Was a very fun experience because the whole game was practically empty and I was able to go and scan in some very funny areas and I found some very nice loot. And eventually I did dock and, well, yeah, let's say I made a lot of ISK that day. It was pretty funny. Okay, now I will go after the command tower first, because that was the closest one to me when I warped in. Okay, first box has been opened, so let's go after the next one. It will be the info shard. Seems like the ship is heading towards a collision course with the objects that are nearby. No, I don't have a problem with that. It's just that I am not going to be able to cloak if I have to cloak. Straight through that object. I think they're actually turrets. Sentry turrets. But not 100% sure. We have 3 more boxes left. Should be quick. Depends if the ship wants to open them on time, which for some reason doesn't happen in this case. 2 more attempts remain, and the box has been opened. Okay, let's go after the next one. I've been to at least 2 regions so far, and most of the most of the sites are located in Blood Raider space. Maybe I should actually go and check out some other regions just to see how it looks. Although not quite sure how the local in those regions is. Over here I know that it's clear. I know that it's mostly safe. However, sometimes it can be dangerous. And opening the last one in this site. Well, not bad. Let me take range and let's cloak. This was actually really smooth so far. And the site has disappeared. Next one we have Decayed Blood Raider Particle Accelerator. Let's quickly go and warp towards the
Warp drive active.
the site. Local is clear. However, I have seen one Astro and one Mordu frigate, one jump behind me, so I have to be quick because I think that they are actually hunting. So let's go and open the Blood Raider the Blood Raider remain box as the first box. Not bad, opened pretty quickly. Okay, let's go after the next one. Blood Raider rubble box. The box is going to be decoded very quickly, hopefully. 13 attempts remain. 12 attempts remain. Okay, decoded, and I got some metal scraps. As to be expected. Let's go after the next box. Blood Raider rubble box. 13 attempts remain, orbiting at 6 kilometers, and they have been opened very quickly. Let's go after the last one. So, I have been roaming for 60 minutes now, and overall very happy with the results. As you can see, you can find sites literally everywhere now. Now that the thing is to actually open them and to get good loot, which does happen. Just have to be patient and just have to wait for the right moment. And so far, in my case, it did pay off really nicely. This site has been cleared and the site has disappeared. Crumbling Serpentis Solar Harvester, okay. Now that's something that I haven't seen so far. This is in high sec.
Warp
right
drive active.
around the corner of my home system. I was practically going back from the roam, slowly finishing up. But I'm definitely not going to leave one site untracked. We have 4 debris boxes. Should be quick. Let's go after the first one. The Stratios definitely has the advantage of having four medium slot modules where you can fit the red scanner. The red scanner is so useful when you are scanning around. It can practically give you information if you have to worry about the players in local. If there is no stations, and if you have one or multiple sites, and if you have one player in local that doesn't leave local, basically they're just lurking around, then there's a big chance that they are camping the site, which you can easily find out with the scanner. Sometimes they might be inside of a encounter, sometimes they might be running a mission, a story mission, but sometimes they might be camping the data site, and this is one of the ways how to prevent losing any ships. Basically, if you see someone in local and they're not leaving local and there is a site inside the system, most likely they're camping the site, and that means you have to wait for them to leave, or you go towards the next system. Or you can change the build on your ship and go pretend to open the boxes, and when they engage you, you go and destroy their ship. Then you go swap the build to exploration and you go back to complete the site, which is something that I will have to actually try because it sounds fun. Let's go after the last box in this current site. Now this site looks very nice. I see why it's called a solar harvester. They have all of these solar panels that are not looking towards the sun for some reason. And the last box has been opened. Okay, let's take range and let's cloak. Next, we have a Serpentis data processing site, also located
Warp
in
drive
HiSec.
active.
Basically, all HiSec systems towards my home station have a site inside, and well, I'm just trying to dock, but I keep stumbling upon more of the data sites, so let's just complete them. Okay, let's go after the first one. We have 3 info shards. Now for a new player, exploration can be a good start, because you don't really have to use very expensive scanners for HiSec, which is something that I really like. And I'm still waiting for the other faction analyzers to be available, the ones that can be bought for LP points. They can be very useful, and I think they will definitely change the game once they are finally released. At the moment we have only the dual faction analyzers and the normal ones. And of course the faction scanners and analyzers will be the most expensive ones.
Warp drive active.
Okay, not bad. We have two more boxes. Let's quickly go towards them and let's quickly open them. Should be pretty quick. After all, this is in high sec. There is only one more system left until my home system, so I think that I will stumble upon one more site and then I can finally dock. I can tell you that there is a massive improvement for exploration. Overall, it's definitely a lot more fun than before the patch, before the balance patch. And I think that the exploration part of the game will be improved as time goes on. Again, I personally expect a lot more content regarding exploration. That's just my wild guess at the moment, because this is definitely one of the most relaxing things to do in this game. And well, we have one angel site. Okay. Let's see what
Warp
the
drive active.
what the local angel life support unit. Now that's something that I see for the first time. I haven't been in angel space in a very long time actually. We have 1, 2, 3 angel info shards. Let's quickly open all of them. This should be quick. After all, this is another high-sec system with a high-sec data site. Fourteen attempts remain. Will be funny if I get something expensive over here. No, I think the most fun thing about this is expecting to stumble upon something very rare or something very expensive, which in my case happens quite often. And honestly, it keeps making me return to exploration each time. So definitely one of the more unique feelings that you can get in Eve so far. And I mean so far, honestly, today's run was very fun. And of course, most importantly, it was very relaxing. Was able to enjoy this cruiser in something that's not related to PvP. Although this Stratios is still a PvP ship, so I can't really change the rigs for exploration, but I think that I will buy a second I will buy a second Stratios, and I will use the second Stratios for exploration. Should be interesting to see how that ship will work. But so far it worked pretty well, and I can only improve the performance of this ship. Alright, well, that would be it for today's exploration roam. Again, I'm very happy to see that the exploration part of the game got improved, and it got improved a lot, I would say. You can now find sites very easily, and with a little bit of luck, you can also make a lot of ISK from doing exploration. So, with that being said, hope that you enjoyed, stay safe, fly safe, and I'll see you next time.